only to have a full definition of all curricula. That means vocational training, curricula, and academic curricula. So it's, I think, an important objective because we are starting work package 4 for academic curricula and work package 5 for vocational training. But within 6 months, this work package should have defined clearly how to deliver the certification. So that means that to contribute to all that, we have some key points to build the overall learning path, which will be presented by work package 3 within a few minutes. The definition of the curricula, the definition also of the validation process to deliver the certification, including equivalences when for academic students or vocational trainees, we declare equivalences of competencies from their previous skills. And we have to define the teaching and learning mechanisms with both theoretical contribution, but also practices to develop competencies. And part of that creation during all the project, we have to build also some contents contributing to the certification. And all that will make possible to create a certification process, which has to be also technically created and together with mechanisms for competence recognition. So not only deliver certification, but how to yes, get in a recognition process and a community of practice linked to 5.0 organization. So these are our objectives for educational issues. If I can go on. Yes. Then yes, concerning the creation, I mentioned it, and then concerning the deployment of these educational objectives, well, a first volume of experimentation should be implemented for mid-project. So month 18, we need to have a first volume of experimentation, both for academics and vocational training certification. So it's quite active, of course. And within 1 year and a half, no, so at month 24 for the project, we have milestones with 90 vocational certificates and 150 for academic students. And the deployment, the certification delivery is part of work package 4 and 5, but work package 2 is contributing with the CoDEMO e-platform, which is a support to deliver all that. So this is for educational objectives. Then concerning socio-economic actors and so innovation activities. Our objective is first to create these value co-creation laboratories dedicated to 5.0 in 6 countries. And these laboratories are dedicated both to support socio-economic innovation project and to support also the students when necessary in their certification. And also here again, we have the objective to maintain these laboratories on the long term. So first step of creation with the milestones month 12, with the activity plan for the 6 vocational value co-creation laboratories. That means that each of the laboratory should have in months 10 to 12, yes, a very good vision of the activities it can develop through this infrastructure. And then implementation and deployment of these laboratories with two key objectives. Month 18, we should have already 12 innovation case studies documented. So it's quite an important objective to keep in mind, because the partners, the TICS partners in charge of the laboratories should start to have a good vision on what could be developed in the next semester and 2 semesters. And then month 24, so after 2 years of project, 24 case studies should be already documented. And this is part of activity mainly Work Package 6 and Work Package 7 for dissemination of these activities. And then the last level of outcome expected, community platform, CoDEMO e-platform, and also innovation community, both to share knowledge, to provide learning functionalities, to create and make active a community of practitioners, and which is also an open innovation community for the long term. And so month 10, so next summer, the platform should be available and functionality tested. So we have already a first version of the website and platform, but perhaps some additional functionality should be integrated and tested. And in month 19, the final platform should be implemented. So this is part of Work Package 2 for the platform, but linked to the platform, there is also some community management mechanisms, which are notably part of task 7.4, which is managed by the association Reconnaître, as a partenaire, French partner Reconnaître. Yes, sir. Okay. And then we have defined in the project 2 milestones for the deployment of this platform activity. Month 12, topic awareness reached. That means that we have already published and disseminate a good level of information on our activities. And in month 18, we have a report on dissemination activity, and I think it's part of our package 7, certainly. We have so to keep in mind for this deployment that in each of the 6 laboratories, we need to implement the skills and processes to manage correctly the platform. That means to be able to publish the content on the platform with local responsible for that. And of course, we need to create that content. We together with the platform, the deployment of the certification delivery process, the platform will be a support just to deliver the certificates themselves, but we have to define it as a full certification process. And together with the platform, the activation of the community of practice, both to share knowledge on innovation, but also to activate mechanisms for competence recognition. And then together with the platform, of course, we have to execute a dissemination plan, so to have an active dissemination way of doing. So these were the key reminders of our activities. Also, I can remind as a conclusion, our next events, just to share it with everybody, So we have next webinar organized by ULBS, and it will be in next April 18. So please participate as maximum to our webinar and share it with your communities. We have in June in Bergamo the CoDEMO Innovation event, which is the first of them. And we have next July NEMO Summer School with several of us participating also to that summer school, but on that occasion, perhaps we will organize webinars also. Next September, CVU Innovation Days, and we expect together with Adrian and his team to deliver first certification on these occasions. And also other dissemination events. We have an OMILAB dissemination event and project presentation and forum in the conference Proveer in Albi next October. And during the same conference, we have a special scientific event also organized in October with several publications from the project. And our next full project meeting will be in Spain next October, and we can, at the end of the project tomorrow, discuss a bit the periods for that. And just a small information also for the future. So, as I mentioned, we have in July 2024, NEMO Summer School in Vienna. For those who already know it, it's a 2-week summer school for master student, doctoral student, but also economic actors which participate. The form of that summer school will change and evolve in the future, catalyzed by Dimitris Karagiannis, which is also associated to our project. And in the coming years, starting in 25, this will be a new format only on 1 week. And this format will be dedicated to innovation and more specifically 5.0 innovation. And we would like to fully use that format also to deliver certifications. And we will communicate again on these opportunities, both for master students, PhD students, but also socio-economic actors, somehow as a full week dedicated to innovation, how to manage innovation and 5.0 innovation. So keep it in mind, and we will try to create a very active and successful event. And Dimitris has in mind to propose in 2025 to start in France, but then to switch to other countries every year. So thank you for all your attention, and I stop here for that presentation.
Adrian?
Yes, just a short correction, Xavier. I'm okay. The CBU Innovation Days will take place in 24 and 25 of October, not September. Just
thank you
for all partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question at this stage? Okay. So I give the floor to Florence Bresson, which is our Françoise. Sorry, which is our administrative responsible, you know, and she will give you some feedback on the current administrative issues.
Maybe you have in your chat bill. Maybe in your chat. No,
Dis-moi,
it's the same. Okay.
Ok. So.
Hello, everybody. I will present you here the results of the internal reporting. I will give you a short summary. I won't detail everything. I will give you a short summary of the different programs or question it raised. But in fact, this internal reporting gave us the opportunity to experiment and get used to the reportings. That was a good exercise for everybody, I think, even for us or me. And it will give us the opportunity to answer the different questions it raised. The main problems that I noticed during this reporting is problems with category of codes that should be declared as it was in the proposal. So you need to respect every category. You must not add a new one. It should be exactly what was declared at the proposal. All the declaration must be done as units. And I saw that some of you declared the real expenses, but in fact, you declared that an event, a travel took place, and you need to put in column unit 1 when it is done. For the cost per unit, also, you should stick to what you declared in the proposal. So you're not supposed to change this amount of cost per unit. Even if you spent more than you expected at the beginning, there is 3 solutions to cover this additional costs, either by the overheads, either it is supported by your establishment, or if you spend less, you may reduce the units, but you won't be paid the expected amount you were expected. So be aware of this. This is unit. This is not real expenses that you declare. Next slide. So it raised different questions about this expenses reporting. The first one is mine. Why some institutions didn't declare any expenses for the work package 8 as all partners participated to the kickoff meeting? I had some partners who didn't declare anything for this work package. I'm a little surprised about that. You should have at least declare 1 travel, accommodation, and so I don't know why. At least the establishment who didn't declare anything will have to change this declaration. I had one question: should we include an expense that has been made in March even though it is relevant to an event to be held in April. Remember that you have to declare units, and units has to be declared once the travel or the event took place. So in fact, here, if it's for an event that is to be held in April, you will be able to declare it in April only and not in March. I had some question also about indirect costs. Indirect costs are a flat rate of 7% of the direct costs. This amount of money can be used anytime during the project, during the work package you are working on, or maybe later. And these indirect costs are not supposed to be, in fact, you don't have to declare them. You can spend them on any kind of expenses that you want. I had another question. Could you please provide us with a link, more information from Erasmus Plus on how to calculate the unit costs for travel and accommodation? I'm not sure I understand this question, in fact, because you have already declared these unit costs in the proposal. So you don't have to calculate them anymore. You are supposed to not to change them in your declaration and just declare units. This is what I saw on question on expenses reporting. If you may have other questions, but we can, maybe if we have time, we can answer some question at the end of my presentation. For human efforts reporting, so you need to put efforts that was scheduled in the proposal also. You need to stick to the work package periods. And so, for example, a work package that is supposed to start in April, you may have worked on it in March. You're not supposed to declare any hours working in for this work package in March. You need also to stick to the staff category planned. You're not supposed to add one category that was not planned in your proposal. I saw some things where a manager declared some time on a work package. In fact, nothing, the category of manager was not appearing in the proposal, so you're not supposed to declare.
Add just one point is that you can change the category in each work package for one person. So one person can be, for example, manager in work package 8, but the same person could be a teacher or engineer in work package 6 or 3. So what you have to do is to keep the same staff category for one person in each work package, but you can change the category from one work package to another, just to tell you.
And for human efforts reporting, you should, the more is better than the less. For the number of days that you declare, but try to be as to stick to the number of days declared in the proposal. And yes, we gave you a timesheet to complete. We saw that maybe it should be relevant to have some modification of this timesheet. We will give you a new one, and on which you will be able to put your function in each work package. It will be easier for you to declare and also for us. And we will change also the unit of declaration from hours to days. It will be easier for everybody. And just a reminder for the periodic reporting that we will have on month 18, that you need, in case then less than 70% of the previous pre-financing was used, there will be a difference of payment between this 70% and the amount actually used. So try to be as close as your declaration. On the next slide, I just put you the percentage, the 70% of the amount you have already got. So you will need to declare at least this amount of column, the column of on right. And just to remind you also that we will have a new internal report, it's the next slide, in September. So anyway, this first reporting was a good way to improve for the next internal reporting, and for sure for the one that we will have to do to the European Commission. So it's a good trial. And the last one, just to remind you, the partage, the CoDEMO partage, and to keep your records of travels just in case of control or any proof of what you've done. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions. Anyway, I will contact every partners where I found some mistakes, some difference from what they declared, from difference from the proposal. So feel free to ask a question if you have right now. And I need to ask, two partners didn't declare anything. If you could please send it to me, it would be great.
So in case of any question or reaction, please, we can take a few minutes.
I don't have necessarily a question, maybe just a comment, because it occurred to us that the shared link, I mean, it's not password protected, and I think that's fine with all the content that we produce, but maybe regarding the reporting, it would be good to put a password for the partners, so it's not so freely available online, but maybe it's also how you think. I mean, just for this folder of management, the others, it's fine, but maybe just the management, because we talk about costs and it's with signatures and everything.
Excuse me, Julia, we did not catch precisely your comment. Can you just Tell it
Yes,
again.
so I mean, we all uploaded this internal reporting on the shared link from the partage. And it's not password protected. And I think this is very fine for all the other content that we produce and we upload. But maybe it would be good to have only this management folder that is password protected for the partners. So our, reporting with the costs and signatures, it's not like available online because anyone with a link can access this information, right?
Good. Okay, thank you, Julia, for this comment. Okay, so we will keep in contact with you for next steps of administrative reporting. And what we have in mind also with Françoise is that next step, it will be also a bit more simple because we have learned from that experience. Raxme, I'll let you share your slides for the KPI reporting.
Do you have my
Yes.
screen? Yeah. Okay, fine.
It's not in full screen.
Yeah, because I will show you how
Okay.
the right
Okay.
side, where are the documents.
Okay.
And we will add, as Julia remarks, we will add a password to access to this document. It's a good point. Thank you, Julia. So first, I would like to precise that is a presentation of the PKI only for the first 6 months activities from September 2023 to February 2024. That's me. As a reminder, there are 3 documents. The first about deliverables, complete by me. The second is communication and dissemination, complete by me, but with application from you, from each partner. And the last is education-oriented and innovation-oriented document, complete individually by each partner, please. Where are they? Just to show you, in our shared folder, management, continuous reporting, KPI. You saw the KPI for the coordinator. This one is for me. The second is for you, for all partners. Up. And where is the last document? The last document is here. Next point. About deliverables. The good news is we are all in time. We have finished and uploaded to Sigma the European union platform for deliverables. The first is the D1 report on drivers, opportunities, and skills for 5.0 transition, with requirement for community management and knowledge sharing platform. The second is about project website provided by OmiLab. The third is about the quality assurance and risk management plan. And the fourth is how collaboration agreement. These four deliverables has been uploaded to the Sigma. And please follow the process defined by UniBG for the review of deliverables, which can be found here. We will go to see the child. So CoDEMO and format template and quality assurance plan review. Quality assurance plan review for each deliverable. Don't hesitate to interrupt me for question if needed.
Just a question about, I see that you navigate. Would it be easier if there was a page where we had all the links, so we don't have to navigate, we just have to click and access to,
yeah,
it would be helpful.
Yeah, as you can see, Françoise has shared to you the link to directly to go to the folder of all documents. But of course, for each document, you can also have the direct link like that. And if you need it, just send in mail to me. To send the mail to me.
So generally, when we need you to use the folders, we send you the direct link generally, and it's always possible to send it. Okay.
Now, next. About communication and dissemination, how we count. For example, when you send me back the well-known dissemination, communication, and events to complete files, I have, for example, these two lines. On the sheet of dissemination and communication, with these two lines, I can add it to how PKI indicator, PKI file. Please, just to help me, please, be careful to specify whether you are participating in or are organizing a workshop, because only when you organizing a workshop is counted as in the KPI monitoring. If you just participated, we don't count. Now, for the beginning, for the 6 first months, we are very, very efficient in the term of social communication. Social communication. social media dissemination action. As you can see, the objective is 60 for the 3 years. And we have published mainly on LinkedIn, Atlas 67. So please, we can continue. However, we need to put more effort in the other aspect concerning the general action, like flyers, like piece of knowledge, content downloaded from our platform. Maybe Omilab, could you just take me update about the number of downloaded documents from our the website? About the scientific and event aspect, I think it's normal. It's normal that there are nothing for the first month. We will start in the next 6 months. For example, this meeting will be counted as our first, I suppose, our first I suppose it will count as your first national workshop or semestrial meeting. For the last point, about the educational oriented and innovation oriented, just one remark. Please don't forget to complete it. I will show you the Excel file. One. No. 2, 1. I will show you by another way. Here. Continue reporting. API. As you can see, just complete your action in the yellow columns. For example, about the objective of 24 case studies. Up, this one. Up, 24 case study in total over the 6 countries. So please, when you have your case study, just complete it. And about just to give some, you say some of us has already started to do action about the educational oriented domain.
Yes, perhaps one point I would like to add here, Axme, if you allow me, on this table on certification and activity linked to students. We have certification as showed by Axme, and it seems that ULBS has already delivered some certification. We have to check a big condition of delivery and etc. We can discuss that. So these are the objective of certification, but we have also an objective just above to use the OmiLab infrastructure, which is student participating to the catalyzer activities. And we have an objective of 400 students. And so this is not necessary with certification, but for example, in Mines Saint-Etienne, we teach process modeling and simulation using OmniLab tools. And so this is a use of the laboratory, and I can imagine in different of the universities, Bergamo, ULBS, Unibial, you already use OmniLab teaching on process, or I don't know. And so you could declare these students, generally these are every year teaching modules. You can declare these students as a user of the catalyzers infrastructure. Thank you.
Yeah, and to go back to the file that you send me every 2 months, it is this famous file, you know, dissemination, communication, and event. What is very important is to declare the dissemination and communication. That is what will be counted for our PKI. The event and training, it just because it's needed for the European, it's just needed for European Union. But for us, for our PKI, we need precise dissemination action and precise communication action.
Okay. And so, Raxme, following the last remark, keep in mind that we can update your slide before sharing them by adding the precise direct link of each of your documents on your slides. That will help also the partners. Okay. Is there any other comment or reaction? Okay, well, thank you very much. And we will carry on developing these KPIs. Just checking the chat. No special question on the chat. No. Good. Okay, so thank you very much for this first information shared. And we can switch to the second part of our meeting, which is with work package 1, so with AREC, I think. So AREC, you have also the right to share your screen, so you can take the floor and perhaps.
Thank you. I hope the screen is visible or not.
Not yet.
Not for the moment.
No, there's no.
Yes.
Now, yes.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Excellent. So I hope we can start. I would like to welcome you to to our short presentation of the results of work in work package number 1. And the main purpose of my presentation is to give you an overview of the scope and results of our work. And later, during the today's meeting, my colleagues will present the detailed results of each task. Regarding the completed tasks, it is important to remember that the aim of work package number 1 was to identify the requirements for the transition towards 5.0 organization and drivers of innovation on the four domains: green, resilient, human-centered, and digital. Work package number 1 was coordinated by us in cooperation with the University of Bergamo and the Lucian Blaga University of Sibiu. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank my team for their work during this work package and on the report. And as well, Xavier, Fabiana, and Adrian for their input in this final report from work package number 1. Keeping in mind that we have a quite short time for this presentation, I would like to show you the main task of within the work package number 1. I presented a description of the structure of work package number 1 during the kickoff meeting in Saint Etienne. As you will recall, there are 3 tasks within work package number 1. Diagnosis of learning opportunities and skills profile for 5.0 organizations, diagnosis of the state and capability of 5.0 organizational transition, and the last not least, user-oriented functional and organizational requirements for community management and knowledge sharing platform. And task number 1 identified a set of knowledge, skills, and competencies for the transition 5.0. This is the first output from this task. A survey of CoDEMO partners verified the proposed set of knowledge, skills, and competencies, and developed the second output, common maps of knowledge, skills, and competencies for transition 5.0. This allowed us to identify gaps in existing teaching and training program. On the right side, you can see a brief information about methodology and tools used for each task on each step of our work. The objective of the second task was to identify innovation needs and drivers for 5.0 transitions. And to achieve this, we conducted a literature review to identify innovation drivers, also in 4 domains: resilient, digital, green, and human-centered, as well as factors that support development of collaborative networks. And based off those outputs, we defined the innovation needs of CoDEMO partners, as well as their technical and organizational collaborative network requirements. And as you can see, in addition, we have identified potential areas for collaboration and resource sharing among the partners in each national collaborative network and among all partners of our project. The third task in our work package was delivered a view of complex view of requirements for collaborative networks 5.0 and the expected functionalities of knowledge sharing platform. This task was led by Lucian Blaga University from Sibiu. And finally, the findings of our work are presented in the final report. And as I mentioned, the details from this report will be discussed in subsequent presentation. To conclude my brief introduction to next presenters, I would like to point out the possibilities for the use and interaction of recommendation we have developed with the subsequent task and work packages of the project. I have provided, as you can see, some examples of potential areas of interaction in this diagram. Mostly, our outputs are related to work package number 2, work package number 3, work package number 4 in some cases, and of course, work package number 5. And as Fabiana said during the last meeting, of course, work package number 6. I believe that our findings and recommendations can support the implementation of the following work packages of our projects. And if you have any questions, feel free to discuss them, but after the whole presentation of our work results. We will have about 15 minutes for discussion and for questions. And thank you for your attention. I will now turn the floor over to next presenter, so to Xavier, if you want to conduct the next part of our session.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Well, I gave you the management of the whole session. I think that you have planned, yes, next 10 minutes also. So yeah, please.
Okay, the next presentation will show you main results from the first part of our report. Those findings will be presented by the new member of our team, Dr. Anna Tomaszuk. She's our co-worker from our faculty. So, Anya, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and it's very nice to join you. And as Arek told us, I will show you the first part of the results. But Arek, I need to access for the showing the presentation.
Yes, Arek, can you stop your sharing and or show the slides of your presenter? I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm pleased to present the first part, as Arek told us, and it will be diagnosis of the 5.0 value co-creation knowledge, skills, and competences. During the presentation, I will focus on the awareness of the organization 5.0 concept generally among CoDEMO stakeholders. Then I will present the most important factors in every dimensions for a perspective of the sector and of the regions. I will try to show the opportunities and potential gaps in the development, competence, skills, and knowledge in the context of existing trainings and study programs. And then I will focus on short suggestions. So in case of the awareness of the understanding and knowing generally concept of the organization 5.0, we can see that the level of knowing is quite high. The respondents from the center region have the highest level of understanding of the concept, more than 90%. The quite interesting situation is in case of the South region. Despite the relatively high awareness of the concept, around 22% of respondents had never heard of the idea. It shows the importance of taking actions to disseminate the essence of the transformation 5.0. And only for remind you, because Arek also was talking about it, 4 dimensions of transformation have been identified. There is resilience, green, human-centered, and digital, which is taken from the Industry 4.0, and in every dimension, based on the critical analysis of the literature, from 9 to 18 factors were identified, and now I will focus on those factors in the prism of every of the domain. And I will focus on showing you the factors mostly based on the prism of perspective of European Union region and on a sectoral perspective. And in the light of the survey results collected, it can be concluded that all resilience focus factors are important for shaping the organization 5.0. And if we analyze the perspective of regions and sectorals, we can observe some differences, especially in case of the importance of business planning in both perspectives, but also a lot of factors is understanding as the most important independently of the perspective of regions. There are 4 factors, and in case of sectoral perspective, it is 5 factors. One added factors is also important according to all sectors. Knowledge, skills, and competences related to digital transformation were also seen by respondents as important, and the analysis of differences and similarities through the prism of this perspective, regions and sectorals, also giving us some information about the differences. And in case of both perspectives, the main differences was for e-commerce and e-marketing and usage of digital tools to support learning and distance learning. And in case of perspective of European Union regions, 3 factors was the most important independently of the regions, and those the same 3 and 2 more were the most important according to all sectors. The third dimension also shows us that we have important factors in these dimensions. Almost all was important and very important. And here we also can observe some differences. Green agriculture had different meaning according to the perspective of European regions and sectoral, and additionally, in case of European regions, supporting fairness have a different meaning. It wasn't very important because there is 3 and 4 and 5. So every region have a different meaning of these factors. And here also 4 factors was thinking as the most important in perspective of all the region, and in case of sectoral perspective, we have 8 the most important and highest factors for all sectors. In case on the 4th dimensions, we can observe that all of the 18 factors, human centered factors, were considered by the respondents as relevant, although here we also have small differences in case of the region for 3 factors, and the same situation is in case of sectoral perspective. And in these dimensions, we have the highest number of the most important factors, especially in case of sectoral perspective. But generally, almost all of the factors from these dimensions were considered as relevant. And in the second part of the evaluation of the research, we evaluate the opportunities and potential gaps in the development of factors within existing training and study programs. And generally, we can observe that there is a lot of opportunities according to average of respondents. And during the presentation, I will focus on the gaps and the different perspective which can be observed in a regional perspective. So in case of the first dimensions of the resilient orientation dimension, we can observe that especially 3 factors can be improved according to all of them, according to average of the respondents. There is collaboration across all sectors in the supply chain, building trust with stakeholders, and the development of effective partners. But what's interesting that we have a lot of differences among sectoral, regional, perspective, because according to respondents from the center, 9 factors should be improved. We have a lot of gaps in perception of training programs. According to respondents from the south, there are 5 gaps, and according to respondents from the eastern 2. And what's interesting, there are differences in meaning of these gaps. When we analyze the second dimension, here we also can observe that 4 factors should be improved. There is cloud technology, e-commerce and e-marketing, communication and collaboration with artificial intelligence, and digital identity management. And we also can observe differences in a regional perspective. According to respondents from the center, also 4 but different factors should be improved. According to the south, 3. According to the respondents from east, only 1. And the third dimension, green orientation, here we have a lot of gaps in perception of training programs. 6, according to the average of respondents, 6 factors should be improved, and we also can observe differences in the regional perspective. Almost all factors should be improved according to the stakeholders from the centers. we can observe 4 gaps according to the respondents from the south and at least 2 from the respondents from the eastern. And the last domain, human-centered skills and knowledge. Here, the current training and education programs provide quite a lot of opportunities to shape and also improve human centers, although 3 factors can be seen as requiring improvement. And here we have some also different perspective from the regions because according to the respondents from the center, almost all of the factors can be improved because there is a lot of gaps according to the south 3 and 1 according to the respondents from the eastern region. So to summing up it, we can observe that the general understanding of the concept of Organization 5.0 is, according to the stakeholders, is quite high. Representatives of all the sectors perceive that their organization is human-oriented, is dynamic, and is green-oriented. Although organization in the eastern and center tend to be more green than in the south, and the resilience varies more depending on the region. We have observed different regional perspectives, but in case of the role of human-oriented dimension, in all, according to the all regions, it is very important part of transformation. And generally, we have relatively high level of consensus regarding the proposed set of skills, knowledge, and competences. But on the other hand, the gaps in perception of training programs is also visible. So regional differences in the perception of organization values may influence on the strategies and action which should be taken by stakeholders in different regions. And to sum up it, the developed knowledge, skills, and competences maps served as a reference point for diagnosis opportunities and potential gaps in the training of Organization 5.0 decision making. And according to our survey, the most important areas which are requiring support include in the first dimension 4 factors: co-creating through the collaborative network, development of effective partnerships, building trust with stakeholders, and collaboration across all sectors in the supply chain. In the second dimension, we have the most important factors which should be improved: communication and collaboration with artificial intelligence, and usage of digital tools to support learning and distance learning. In case of the green-oriented organization, we have 3 factors: green agriculture, biosecurity, and evaluation of environmental and social impact, which can be support, and also 3 factors in case of the last domain, human-oriented. There is adaptive learning, empathy, and socio-emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for presentation.
Thank you, Anya, for your presentation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate asking questions, but after the whole presentation. So thank you, Anya, once again. Now we have a time for the next presenter. Please, Andrzej, upload your presentation. The next presentation is opportunities and gaps for innovative national collaborative opportunities and gaps in education and training training programs. Of innovation national collaborative networks. Sorry. So.
You mean, Arek, that I should start now?
Yes.
Instead of Andrew, yeah?
Okay, we can start.
So Anna, could you please stop sharing your screen? Okay, thank you. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce the results of the one part of our survey referring to the needs for innovative national collaborative networks. This part of the questionnaire was aimed at identifying the innovations and practices needed in 5.0 national collaborative networks and innovation boosters. For this purpose, the respondents were asked to indicate the technical and organizational support their organizations need to work effectively in collaborative networks, then the types of collaborative activities they would like to participate in, as well as the resources they would like to share or exchange. The technical and organizational support for working effectively in a collaborative network referred to 4 groups. Considering first one, so technology and data, the majority of the respondents indicated that their need for this kind of support is at a high or very high level. They expressed the greatest needs regarding the training programs on emerging digital skills, so upskilling, and over 75% of them indicated this support. Then the integration of new technologies, AI, Internet of Things, and blockchain, also ensuring data privacy and security, and quality, reliability, and integrity of data. And no essential and relevant differences between particular regions and sectors have been identified in this group of support. And the second group, so human-centered development, the respondents indicated accessible and user-friendly platforms and programs as the most needed for their organizations. Their need for this kind of support is also at a very high level, because almost 80% of them indicated them. It's also worth of stressing that the remaining human-centered development support types were also indicated as very needed. I mean, training programs on soft skills, upskilling, designing and evaluation of personal development, platforms for communication and team working, and also there were no essential differences between particular regions and sectors. The support in the field of participation in network was also stressed as very needed by all organizations. Over 70% of those surveyed find the following types of them as the most needed, so at a high or very high level. Co-creating solutions through collaborative innovation, innovation and technology transfer, knowledge exchange and collaboration innovation, training programs on teamwork and collaborative value creation, organization of R&D collaborative initiatives, and no relevant differences between particular regions and sectors were identified. In case of support related to sustainable development, respondents also considered it very needed for organizations to work effectively in a collaborative network, ensuring the longevity and economic sustainability of the networks is at high and very high level of necessity for 1/3 of organizations, while implementing collaborative practices that support environmental sustainability for 64%, and the development of collaborative green-oriented initiatives for over 60% respectively. There were no relevant differences between particular regions and sectors. The next question aimed at diagnosing the main types of collaborative activities the respondents would like to participate. Those activities were divided into 3 following groups: activities to get better informed on 5.0 transition, activities to train people on 5.0 transition, organization 5.0, and activities to innovate on organizational processes. There were no essential differences between the activities indicated by the respondents from different regions to get better informed on 5.0 transition. The most frequently indicated activity were webinars and workshops. Less than 1/3 of Eastern companies are interested in participating in scientific events. More variety responses were obtained from individual sectors. 78% of respondents are interested in sharing 5.0 feedback experiences, while at the same time, only about 40% of those surveyed from industry and agri-food companies agreed in this category. Nearly 3/3 of the representatives of organizations are most interested in participating in webinars and workshops. Over half of those surveyed would like to share 5.0 feedback experiences to get better informed on 5.0 transition. The answers related to scientific events was the least popular among respondents, as only 30 of them indicated it. The respondents' interest in activities related to training people on transition 5.0 are also here presented in the second table. Deployment of training programs, short-term certification for staff and students, problem-based training or teaching, and problem-based training and were the activities that the respondents indicated the most frequently. To train people on 5.0 transition, those surveyed considered staff or student mobility and deployment of teaching student programs less necessary. Many of those activities to innovate on organizational processes were considered by the respondents important and needed in 5.0 national collaborative networks and innovation boosters. The need for the diagnose the 5.0 maturity of the organization, as well as knowledge and technology transfer, were considered the most desirable and necessary. About half of those surveyed indicated also the following activities: design thinking sessions to identify innovation projects of skills and competence transformation, and build and launch collaborative research and development projects. The last question in this part of questionnaire was related to the identification of the resources the respondents would like to share or exchange. Those surveyed are most interested in exchanging best practices and case studies. About half of the representatives of organizations would like to share also success stories and learning platforms. Sharing the resources related to business network data and access and social network data and access are the least needed by companies. There were no relevant differences between resources respondents would like to share or exchange from the region perspective. The Eastern respondents are not so interested in sharing success stories comparing with other regions' representatives. At the same time, they are more willing to exchange R&D infrastructure comparing to Central and South respondents. From the sector perspective, all of those surveyed from health branch are interested in sharing best practices, while half of industry and 70% of agri-food representatives share this attitude. Also, those respondents were more likely to exchange case studies, success stories, learning platforms, and R&D infrastructures than the respondents from other sections. So to sum up, we want to underline technical and organizational support for working effectively in a collaborative network in 4 considered groups, referring to technology and data group, training programs on emerging the digital skills, integration of new technologies, and the issues of security should be stressed. Referring to human-centered development, also training programs, but user-friendly and accessible platforms and programs were also commonly mentioned. In the group of participation in a network, co-creating solutions through collaborative innovations, knowledge exchange, collaborative innovation, innovation and technology transfers, and referring to sustainability.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but I want to interrupt you because we have a time regime. Can we come to the conclusions?
Yeah. And the last summing slide, as far as types of collaborative activities are concerned, they were divided to 3 groups. All companies from all regions are interested in participating in webinars and workshops. Additionally, organizations from the Eastern region underlined also the need for problem-based training or teaching, launching of 5.0 innovation, cooperations between business partners, and design thinking sessions. So based on the data provided, the Central region shows the highest overall tendency to share resources in most categories, especially in the context of best practice or success stories, learning platforms. The Eastern region also excels in some areas like case studies, R&D infrastructure. The South region shows a lower tendency to share compared compared to other regions in most categories. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Julia, for your presentation. I'm sorry for interruption. But now we have a few minutes for the second block of this part of our research. This block will be presented by Andrzej. This block is dedicated to in the identification of innovation needs and drivers for the organizational transitional 5.0 and identification needs of components of organization 5.0. So, Andrew, the time is for your presentation. The time is yours. The floor is yours.
Okay, hello. Can you see the presentation?
Yet.
Sorry.
Yet.
Okay, maybe I'll change the screen. Is it visible now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hi.
Now is okay. Andrzej, please remember that we have a limited time for the presentation. Please try to reduce your presentation to less than 10 minutes.
Less than 10. Okay, it will be difficult with 22 slides, but I will try. Okay, my part of presentation is about the diagnosis of innovation needs and drivers for 5.0 organizational transition. And yes, research goals were to identify the innovation needs and drivers for the organizational transition to 5.0 and to identify needs in terms of individual components of organization 5.0 in perspective of four main domains like resilient, digital, green, and human-centered, and in areas like industry, healthcare, food processing, and in some parts also higher education and vocational training. So the structure of respondents were similar, looking at the country and region. So in each region, Southeastern and Center, there were similar respondents. Total number was were 75 respondents, and we've been asking them about these needs in these four areas. So here are, for example, some results in the resilient-oriented area. I realized because there are lots of factors divided into these areas, and this may be not very clear. So I decided just to put attention on those factors with very high relevance and high relevance, with a total of over 70%. So for example, for Eastern region, there were training or rational programs on business management, leadership development, co-creation through networking, market needs, analysis methods and tools, implementation maintenance of technology for network activities. Little different were for South region, like development of effective work in collaborative network, developing competencies required for innovation, developing competencies required for problem identification and solving. And also for Central region, development of effective work in collaborative network, developing competencies required for innovation and leadership development. Similar analyses were made for sectors, industrial and health sector. The factors with higher points per was the development of competencies needed for innovation, and for agri-food sector, development of competencies needed to identify and solve problems. It is for resilient-oriented area. And for other areas, also some elements were identified, but I won't just say it in total, not just talking in detailed way about each of them. So the point is that there are differences, but they are not statistically important. So we've chosen those factors with higher grade. And for example, for green-oriented needs in industry, there are training or rotational programs on environmental management, support in area of an evaluation of environmental and social impact of product, or for health training or rotational programs on environmental management, development of pro-environmental attitudes among employees, and for agri-food, develop of green-oriented and attitudes of employees, and design and use of resource-efficient technologies. And the second part was analyzes the innovation and practices needed in 5.0 national collaborative networks and innovation boosters. So for technology and data support needed by organizations, there were three factors with high level and very high level, that were training programs on emerging digital skills, integration of new technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and blockchain, ensuring data privacy and security. And these answers were similar to all the sectors, and also participation in network support needed by organization. There were 4 factors: training programs on teamwork and collaborative value, co-creation, knowledge exchange, and collaborative innovation, co-creative solutions through collaborative innovation, and innovation technology transfer. So we can see the highest evaluation for these factors. And looking at those results, we can see some recommendations which can be made for addressing the innovation needs, looking at the regions. For example, for South region, emphasize digital literacy and e-commerce, straighten green orientation, support human-centered skill developments. For Eastern region, enhance resilience through innovation and problem-solving competencies, digital transformation, and AI collaboration, promote green and sustainable practices. And for Central region, leadership and strategic management, both digital capabilities, green innovation, and sustainability. These recommendations are based on these needs which were identified earlier. And some recommendations looking at these areas like industry, health, agri-food. For industry sector, focus on digital transformation, strengthen resilience and adaptability, promote green manufacturing practices. For health sector, enhance digital health capabilities, develop the resilient healthcare system, promote human-centered care. And for agri-food sector, innovate for sustainable agriculture, digital skills for agri-food, and focus on food security and resilience. I got also detailed description for each of these recommendation, but I hope there is no more time to talk about it. So I can also give this if you are interested in. So thank you very much for your attention, and in the case of question, I'm ready.
Thank you, Andrzej, for your presentation. Now we have a time for the last presentation is in this session. The most important for us as a partners of CoDEMO networks, requirements of CoDEMO partners in terms of knowledge sharing and community management platform. And Adrian, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Just a little bit to see. Okay, can you see my screen? I think yes.
Yes,
Okay,
excellent.
I try briefly to speed up if it is possible. Actually, if we saw before the input from most of our partners or organizations about skills and other requirements, now we will see a little bit what we need regarding our electronic platform that we want to implement during the CoDEMO project. So just briefly regarding partners, I think everybody will collaborate inside of their country. We are in quick contact all the time with OmiLab and Marquardt, but also with the rest of the partners. And we have also a big, let's say, bank of industrial partners. Probably you saw some results regarding Eastern collaboration and innovation from the previous slides from AREC. Okay, what we intend to see based on our study is to identify the functional or organizational requirements of collaborative networks and what each partner have regarding collaborative spaces, software, digital services and tools. Also facilities during the community management, and also usability, how we'll communicate each other in discussion forums or polls, but also how we can create a community of or network of community partners. So we developed a survey based on 17 questions regarding physical, technical, and functional and organizational requirements that partners need in order to have on their CoDEMO electronic platform, as I said. Because it was set the survey somehow in the holiday period, we limited to have only around one, maximum two answers from partners. Of course, we could provide more answers, but actually each partner have at least one answer to our questions. So what was the position of the people was from, it's various from teaching staff to researcher or to executive officers or IT teams. And what they answered that we have, or 70% we have living labs or innovation laboratories. Of course, there are OmiLab nodes, only 47% from the partners, but that is because most of the answer come from each partner, not from only from higher education institution. Of course, half of the answer show that there exists R&D infrastructure or design thinking facilities. And as also I observed in the previous question, technology transfer being very welcome or a need for most of the organization. Okay. Regarding the best practices and the experience through the community, let's say more than a half are happy to share from their good experience. and also most of them have a good relation with companies based on innovation-oriented learning and educational activities. This is positive things that we could share in our collaborative network, such as examples. We ask also how we communicate, and of course, most of us answer about their facilities like Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom or Moodle or Zoom or WebEx or no matter what, depends on the specific of the institution. But of course, Microsoft Teams was the most used by most of us. And regarding the channel of discussion and the notification between partners, institution, we see the mailing list, of course, the most part, but also newsletters or discussion forums or polls. And let's say this is also somehow related with what Raxme show us, that the social media is strength in our dissemination or discussion or promoting things. Also some requirements probably from the most of the IT guys regarding project management tools. There are such requirements, and also, as Julia observed, somehow encryption or protecting is very important. And what we also observe in other previous slides, there are a preference for cloud-based solution and open source technologies, probably not very well developed in all partners, or as I said, depend on their activities, but there is a preference about this. And of course, would be necessary some facilities regarding discussion forums or real-time document editing or task management. And what want every partner to develop skills in which sector. We see somehow a balance. Industry education, it's a large proportion, but also agri-technology and health. But I think they are normal because we know which is the expertise of each partner from the consortium. And now I go to the most important things that was based on some discussion between OmiLab and Uni Bergamo, and also with me and Xavier. And there are some functionalities that the CoDEMO platform should include. So these functionalities regards training activities, regard also knowledge, sharing knowledge about innovation projects or catalyzation activities or opportunities. And also the very important is, let's say, recognition and support for the certification and management of the community innovation. So regarding training functionalities, actually, the idea is to integrate the learning cube in the platform, also to include a forum about discussion, because we saw the most of the partners have these requirements. Also for learning or teaching and learning, of course, there is a need for a section with presentation videos or other uploading some small experiments that we can share together. Of course, registration form for users of the training activities, feature to export data, feedback form from users, and also polls or Q&A features. Regarding knowledge sharing, the skills and others, actually, it's better to have a section where you can see the previous partner projects, or a section to add new news and events, also possibility to add a new event and innovation day or hackathon or a workshop or a webinar. And of course, some of them are in this moment in the website of the CoDEMO, and the possibility to create some account in the platform, and through the participant or the member of the platform can have also a small chat. Also, filtering mechanism to filter depends on project information or years of activities or topics, in our opinion. Also, very, very important is the recognition, as I said, the certification, delivery, and validation. And of course, this should be discussed between us in our consortium, how to can provide this certification. Xavier has a good idea, in my opinion, regarding a two-step certificate delivery. The first stage to be a local temporary certificate. That means recognizing the participation to a training activity or to a webinar or to a other conference. And in the second stage, actually to validate this temporary certificate and also guarantee that this would be recognized at least in the consortium, but also further. And also it's important how to manage the whole community and to access to some list of community members or to invite new partners in the outside partners, because we also should develop some case study with partners outside of the consortium, and also filtering and display certified members in different categories based on country, topic, or level of certification. I think there are briefly some ideas that are needed to be included in the knowledge sharing electronic platform of the CoDEMO. And this should also have in mind the boosters and also catalyzers. Thank you very much. I think I wasn't very, very short, but I tried.
Thank you, Adrian, very much for an interesting presentation. Dear colleagues, we have a few minutes later than we planned, but I think we have a few minutes for a few questions if you want to, but I rather suggest to send us a question to this part of our work by chat or email. Then we will have a break between those parts, as you wish. Thank you once again.
Just a small question, Adrian, Eric, do you have planned some time to discuss on these functionality propositions for e-platform? Is it just now, or is it also in work package 2 just after the break? Or
maybe I can add this
yeah.
here. Yeah, so we received last week the list of these functionalities, and I tried to map them on some services, and that I'll show you in the next presentation.
Okay, good.
If you want, we can do it right away and then have a break, or I mean, up to you.
Yeah, we can do it after the break. Yeah, fine. With your instruction. Okay. Okay, another point I could highlight also in all the presentation from AREC team, we saw yes, quite a lot of insights on the competencies, needs, and things like that. Also, one of the point I highlighted was the notion of evaluating maturity of 5.0 organizations. And perhaps it could be one point to keep in mind. I don't know if within the consortium some actors would be interested to try to develop such a maturity-oriented tool. This could be a useful tool, part of each innovation project for any company, and it could be included perhaps in a more larger innovation process or innovation method presented by CoDEMO. I know that on our side, since we have started with case studies, we think to formalize a bit CoDEMO innovation methods. And in case we would have such maturity-oriented tool, it could be also interesting.
Yes, I think it's a good idea because there is no any maturity model which reflects the specificity of organization 5.0.
Yeah, you're right. We are at the beginning of 5.0, and so there is a window to give such added value. And additionally, all your team has been working on the different type of competencies, etc., that we could see as an interesting starting point to think on maturity levels. Perhaps.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions? So thank you, Xavier. Now I think we have a time for the break between parts.
Yeah. We just try to reduce the breaks to 10 minutes, so we can meet again at 11:20. We try at least to do that. Thank you very much. Just keep in line if possible. We will try to take the list of participants because we need it for the report. So just keep in line even during your break. Thank you. See you within a few minutes. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello again.
Hello, Eric. Hello, everybody. Please put your video on just to know if everybody is back or if we wait still a bit. Thank you. Okay, good. Good. So we are back, and Julia, you can start share your presentation if you want.
Good. Great. I can start with a presentation of work package 2 for the infrastructure and the community to give you an update and to have this opportunity to discuss the platform. This work package is coordinated, is led by our colleagues in CBU, ULEBC, and OMILAB, its co-leader here. Just a brief update of what are the tasks and the deliverables for this work package. The first task is coordinated by ULEBC and has also one deliverable, which has already been triggered by the colleagues in CBU with input to request input from the labs, as well as from our side for the technical architecture of the platform. It's due in June to be uploaded on the EU platform. But yes, I guess as soon as possible we should all deliver the first draft of the for the D21. And further two tasks which are part of this work package. One of them all started now, actually in month 7 of the project. And both of these tasks are corresponding to the second deliverable of the work package, which is regarding the web platform. And we have here two due dates. One is in month 10, which is July, when the platform should be available and with the basic functionality working. And then in month 19, which is exactly 1 year from now, all functionalities should be available as well as tested by the partners. Regarding task 2.1, which is about the deployment of the 6 laboratories, I just want to give a short update here. So 4 of them are already in working and established. For Bielefeld, we have a date scheduled on the 16th of May to be installed and set up. And then for Valencia, we are still waiting for their final purchase confirmation. Maybe if someone from Valencia is in the meeting, can then get in touch with us via email with some more information regarding this. Good, but now let's talk about the platform, the architecture. So this is our proposal. This is the architecture of the platform. It has 2 parts. So first of all the labs will have their own platform, so own individual platform. So we have one for CoDEMO in Saint-Etienne, for Bielefeld, for CBU, Bialystok, Valencia, and Uni Bergamo. for them to upload content which is relevant with everything that happens within the lab. And of course, to publish CoDEMO training material and everything that is produced by each of the nodes. This platform will be based on WordPress, because I think, according to our assessment, this is a user-friendly way and quite easy to update the pages and to put content on it. We are currently preparing all of this, the initial deployment of the WordPress for each of the nodes. And then the second level of the platform will be the central point, which acts then as an aggregator. So everything that is posted on these 6 individual platforms by the nodes will then appear on the CoDEMO main project page, so to say. So this one acts as an aggregator, as well as on the OmniLab. So some of the information, such as events, learning materials, will then appear on the OmniLab main platform as well, to allow an even larger distribution and dissemination of information. So the first stage, this is individually maintained and organized by the labs, and then the second part acts as an aggregation of information and distribution. So the idea is that each lab should publish news, training materials, events, certification modules like the Learning Cube first on their platform, because all of this information will be aggregated on the CoDEMO central point as well. So this, we won't miss any of the activities that you do, and you have then the freedom to describe, update, change as you wish. So now the question is, what functionalities will be required for this? So this is, I just summed up again the list that Adrian just showed before. So we have these 3 categories, the training, the knowledge, and the certification functionality. Some of the functionalities are overlapping. So for example, I don't know, video content for the training is relevant for the knowledge functionality as well. So we can reuse them, of course. So based on this list, it's on 2 parts, let's say. So the first part is on the functional requirements that are needed, is this one. But of course, in order to support this, we also need some organizational requirements. So the deployment of the individual instance of the individual node platforms and also the central CoDEMO platform is within the OmniLab cloud infrastructure and is hosted on our servers in Germany. This is during the project lifetime, but then we have to, this is also part of the sustainability planning of the project, how to do this deployment after the project lifetime. So the functionality implementation is provided through reuse. So we have to also identify what are the service instances that you maybe already use, because I imagine it's difficult to request a university institution to change completely the functionalities that they have available, or to request new ones. So this is a feedback that we need a bit more specific from your side, but I will get back to that at the end of the presentation. There are some centrally maintained capabilities for the central platform, and then some also individual functionalities for the node platform. One very important aspect is that for the node platform, we need a responsible person to coordinate the handover and the training. So then I kindly ask each node to let us know who is the coordinator for this from their side, and then we will organize handover training to show you how to manage the WordPress platform. So based on the functional functionality requirements that we received from the task 1.3, we then map those on the OmniLab-based services that we can offer to match these functionalities. So for example, we identify the need for the training content repository. So for the T functionalities, especially for the learning cube, where we have the quizzes, the lectures, skills assessment. For this one, we can offer the Moodle service. We have our own instance on Moodle. Furthermore, for the webinars, other activities, workshops, and everything that requires a registration service, we can offer that from OmniLab. It's to manage the registration process, export also the data that was on point, have the calendar, the filtering options, also the recording, and this applies to the T and K functionalities. For the community management functionalities, we have tools that are under development for features such as the forum, the chat that was identified as necessary, also for the sign-in registration perspective of the community members. We are still assessing which one of them are the best to integrate within our infrastructure. And this applies, of course, for the K and C functionalities. For the innovation projects and innovation experiments that are developed within the lab infrastructure, within OmniLab, we have this developer space, the GitLab that we use for the community, and this is for the T. I mean, this is basically can be applied for all functionalities, for all three categories, I mean. If for students projects, for other resources and services that are developed by each node. And then finally, for the certification, we have our badge system, which we can offer to deliver the CoDEMO certificate as well. So this is for the C functionality. So these are services from the OmniLab base package that we mapped according to the requirements identified in the previous work package. But now we need input from you, so from all of the labs, in order to establish this initial deployment. So we are asking you, what service do you have available for each of these categories, and if you have a service preference, and please be as exact as possible. So if I would give an example of what I mean for example, with the training content repository, right? It's the service that we have within OmniLab. It's our Moodle instance. So for example, let us know if you have this service available, like Moodle at University of Bergamo, Moodle at University Lucian Blaga in Sibiu. So let us know what kind of service you have available. And also, if you don't have anything available, if there is something that you prefer to use. And then we will assess all these preferences and try to see what is possible to integrate also with the center platform. So this is input that we kindly ask to be filled out by each lab for all of these categories. And then based on this information that we receive, so with the specific services, we will then create this initial deployment of the WordPress platforms for each node, and then do the handover. But then, of course, you have the handover, you can personalize and customize as you wish, but for the initial deployment, we can already integrate some of the services. But I will get back to the labs with an email, I mean, listing again all of this information that we need from your side regarding the services. And then, I mean, one last thing from my side regarding this individual service requirement. So for the web-based services, please let us know if you have already a link, a URL, what is the integration capability, in case it's a license service. If the license is available, let us know. And I mean, this should be managed by the node itself and locally operated. And then the services that you already have available and are not part of the OMILAB-based package is the responsibility of the node to manage and support them. And if you identify that a generic functionality, so let's name Zoom here, should be usable by all hosts, please clarify the requirements that I have to use, if it allows mandates, tenants for operation, and then we will check integration within the OMILAB services. Yes, I think this is all from our side regarding the platform and the services. But now I wait for comments and questions from your side.
Okay. Thank you very much, Julia. So if I understand well, what you are showing just on the slide here, it's a kind of survey you are going to send us, or something like that?
Yes, I mean, survey in the sense that, I mean, it's just like these two questions to like really a list of what service is available and if you have a service preference. Because, for example, also in the presentation for the previous work package, it was that some partners use MS Teams, some use Zoom, some use Google, and then specifically for the nodes, we would like to know what do you use so we can offer this initial deployment.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for that preparation, and yeah, we will answer your request. Yeah, good. Yes, I have just two remarks concerning question of community and management and certification. One is concerning certification. It's still not ready, I can imagine, but as mentioned by Adrian just previously, we have to clarify with work package 3 the full certification process, and it could happen that even we would have 2 levels of certification: local certification and then CoDEMO supervised certification. So just we have to keep in mind, because it will impact your platform.
Yes, of course. I mean, what I listed here, our badge system for the certification is a service that we can already offer from OMILAB. But of course, considering the work in the other work packages, just, you know, let us know kind of what are the requirements, and then we can integrate this.
And then concerning community management, my question is that certainly we have started to discuss a bit in other work packages the notion of recognitions. So I can imagine that I could induce some necessary functionality in the platform. I don't know if Serge Ravet have some initial ideas on that point, just to clarify us initial input.
Yes, because we're working on a new platform with a person who developed Badger, who is NetAuto. And so with different kind of functionalities, with a different approach, because Badger is very much designed as a system to deliver yes, credentials to individuals, but there is not at all this idea of a community of practice. And so this is one of the weaknesses of the current badge system, which are which are not designed to support a community of practice. So well, we have a platform which is called ORCA, Open Recognition Community App, that we are developing, and which allows precisely to have the support of a community of practice. So this is something we can create a sandbox for people to see how it works and decide if it makes sense for the project to use this approach instead of Badger.
Okay. Okay, so yes, should be further discussed, yes, to see, because you have the platform that you are developing of a CONET for all your activities, and we have the CoDEMO platform. And so perhaps there is a question also of are there some functionalities which are applicated in the CoDEMO platform, or is there some kind of link between the two platforms or things like that? So yes, perhaps in the future it could be further discussed.
So if I may add, Sert, if you could send us more information, what is the generic functionality, how to integrate this with OmniLab, and that would be helpful to proceed with these functionalities.
Yes, yes. I made earlier the suggestion that we could create an instance. We just need a subdomain name. So I suggested like 5.0 dot and the URL of the system. So yeah, we just have to
send us when you have some information, then we can see this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll create an instance for testing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any other questions, reaction to the presentation of Julia?
Sorry, Xavier. Daniel Morario from Lucian Blaga University. I want to discuss with Julia because we discuss about deliverable 2.1, where we need to describe also the technical specification for the platform. And also I want to remember to Julia to complete this information regarding the platform architecture and regarding the functionalities required by the platform based on questionnaire, based on this type of functionality. Also in the deliverable 2.1 in section 4. It's the entire section where it need to be completed with this kind of information.
And we got this list last week, so please give us a few more days to do this. We will.
Okay, thank you.
And also the rest of the partners, because as we observed that Valencia is a little bit delayed, the process, it's important to provide at least the requirements, or not the requirements, the resources that they have besides the new OmniLab that will be installed. This is necessary also for the deliverable 2.1. And just briefly, I will discuss later with Julia next day, not necessary just to stay too much now. But I have some question that I will address in the email regarding the previous platform that we have from OmniLab, what we can reuse or not. Also, I can provide the Excel file with the answer of the partners who said they have Microsoft Teams or they have a Classroom or they have other things to see in the previous form. And maybe later, if we decide about the services and other things, we'll have a meeting with the expert guys from our team to know exactly how to speed up some processes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
Adrian, can you just remind me concerning deliverable 2.1 where you need some additional contributions? What is the deadline?
The deadline, the final deadline is the month 9. That means June. But we need to have latest in end of May, I think, from the all partners to be reviewed and to be uploaded, or to, let's say, consider with the final form from your side. And
okay, good. And so the main missing contribution is from Valencia currently, or?
Yes, I can also share a few, just a small thing, just a little bit, just to see the, how to say, the real situation. Share screen, yes. Yes, okay. Okay, and this is just a little bit. So here, there we have full data from your side, from Xavier, from IMT. From Bergamo, we have results. We also completed from our side. And we have almost, let's say, completed from Bielefeld and from Unibial, but we need from Valencia. And also, of course, but Julia will finish with the technical data regarding the architecture and the functionalities. So I think here is a little bit of not so much problem, because we organize the deliverables such that we have the OmniLab in the center or in the front of the laboratories, but every partners have also other, let's say, smart living or medtech lab as you have, or we have also food lab or agriculture lab. So this is the status, let's say.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Sorry, also I want to mention it that University from Valencia and University from Bielefeld need to develop the OmniLab physically laboratory. It's physical laboratory, because also the Bielefeld need to describe. I understand the Bielefeld will open the OmniLab laboratory in May, and after that the Bielefeld need to describe the general idea, the functionalities for use it in the project, use with the OmniLab laboratory. And also need to describe the Bielefeld, so that for the Bielefeld I say also almost completed, and also University from Valencia need to describe also the OmniLab laboratory, if already they have, or need to be finished until project month, I think project month 12. Okay, so that in July, I note here in July, no. Yes, in project 10, in July need to be finished also the all 6 laboratories. In 12, sorry, in 12, in project month 12. Not in July, in the
that
September.
Means next October. Next October.
Yes, next October, yes. Next October, yes.
Okay, good. Good. Are there any other questions on this proposal for functionalities also for the platform? Are you currently happy with the services which were highlighted and proposed by OmniLab and ULBS? No difficulty currently. Okay. Good. So this is fine for me. Julia, for work package 2, we have some minutes left. Did you want to share something else, or is it fine?
No, I think it's fine. I will, as I mentioned, I will get back to each node with the exact information and when we expect the answers. So then when we have everything, we will then coordinate the handover and also to finish the description of the functionalities.
Okay. So thank you very much, Julia, and I would like to thank Omila because we have with Omilab very good support to develop that platform and to get good results on this level of outcomes we are expecting, and there is already a good platform. So thank you very much for your involvement and contribution. Serge, yes.
Yes, just one point. If people wanted to have an account as administrator on the instance of Orca, just send me your email like that. I'll nominate you as an administrator like that. You will have access to all the functionalities. So just send me the email of the people you want to have admin access, and I'll create the instance with the access for the people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much. And Thomas, we can now switch to work package 3 a bit in advance, but this is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
okay.
You can take the floor and share your screen if you want.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to share the screen. Yeah, I think you should be able to see it, right?
Good, beautiful photo of the learning lab. Is it the Omilab infrastructure? Or?
Yeah, that's the Omilab infrastructure. That's correct, yes. Okay, yeah. So thanks for giving us the time to give a presentation about the work package 3. As we from Bielefeld are the leader of this work package, and we are actually the leader of the first 2 tasks of this work package. I will mainly do the presentation today about it, and I will talk mainly about this CoDEMO Cube or Learning Cube we've been developing during the last month. And first of all, many thanks also to all the contributors of this cube. And the cube itself went through a kind of a process. It was kind of an evolution, a lot of input, a lot of discussions, which was quite nice and very interactive, and I really appreciate that process. So I will talk about that mainly during the next maybe 30 minutes or something like this. And then I try to leave some time also for question and discussion later on, because I think that's also an important aspect of the whole CoDEMO project here. Oh yeah, one remark before I proceed with this cube. There are 2 days left for abstract submission for the Probi conference. And I think you may all have noticed that we have a special session there about 5.0 organizations, and which is organized by me and 3 other colleagues from CoDEMO project. So we would really appreciate your contributions here during the Probi conference, just as a brief reminder. 2 days left for abstracts. Okay, then now let's jump into work package number 3. We are obviously in April here. We are looking towards the first deliverable, which is deliverable 3.1, the certification and curricula. And mainly I'll talk about these first 2 tasks today, but it cannot be fully separated, of course, from all the other tasks of work package 3, which is, I think, quite clear. So our discussion is going on about this deliverable 3.1, the open badge certification and the associated curricula. So what is a, let's say, certification framework, or if you want it like that, what is the whole kind of logic between learning content, methods, curricular, and the certification, because you cannot view it as an independent aspect, of course. So just as a brief reminder, so task 3.1, the one which you can see at the slide here at the top. I try to highlight some important aspects here about this task. It was about we need a flexible solution which allows, from a learner's perspective, individualized learning paths. towards decision makers. And also we need to keep in mind the perspective also of the, let's say, educational institutions, for example, the universities. And we have to make it as easy as possible for educational institutions to integrate the modules, the content, the learning offerings they have into a systematic framework. So those are the things we are having in mind when we are developing the cube. Of course, quality assurance is important. Also, the opportunities for people to gain new knowledge should be quite, yeah, let's say popular or clear from the very beginning. Okay, this is task point 1. Task point 3. From the very beginning, Xavier mentioned that quite often we should implement something which focuses on a contradiction-based learning to support these KSC developments. So we need kind of practices within the cube, which should transport the idea of Organization 5.0 quite explicit. And we need to have an open systematic, which allows a lot of different kind of learning methods, tools, and approaches we all have already in place. And then we had some discussion going on, how can we put the things together? And what we are developed is this kind of a learning cube, and you've already talked a little bit about this. And the cube has 3 key dimensions. You can see it here. You have a human-centered dimension, you have a dimension resilience, and you have a dimension sustainability or green or ecological. I will talk about the details of this cube in a few minutes. One thing which is quite important is we are fully aware, and you will see it in the next slides, that of course digitalization is, if you want it like this, like the 4th dimension, right? But for us, we said, okay, conceptually, digitalization is the key enabler or the underpinning element of all these 3 aspects: human-centered, resilient, and ecological. That's why it's not an explicit separate dimension within the cube. That's quite important because, as you saw also in the presentation about work package 1 and the deliverable we are considering, I think it's deliverable 1 from work package 1 here, and they were showing us 4 dimensions: digital, human-centered, resilient, and ecological. And of course, we want to respect these 4 dimensions and consider that in a cube as well. So that might be important to mention here at this point. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper in the cube now. Here you see these 4 dimensions, and what we did based on the deliverable 1 from the web package 1, we then further specified these 4 dimensions. Here you have the digital competence, knowledge, skills, and competencies, which are spanning or overlapping all these 3 dimensions of human-centered, resilient, and ecological. That means, based on this idea of the cube, we would say that the education institutions offering their learning content, modules, and so on and so forth, they could put their modules into this area of human-centered or resilience or ecological, or 2 of the 4 elements, or just 1, and so on and so forth. So it's quite flexible. It's not that, of course, these institutions have to cover all these 5 dimensions at all time, but it's like it's the cube and the offerings are growing based also on this idea Julia just showed us. With these OmniLab nodes we have in place, about these 6 nodes. And my vision would be that, of course, every node has some, let's say, specific focus. Maybe there's a node that's focusing more on the ecological orientation, another node is focusing more on digital, another node more on human, and so on and so forth. So that the whole kind of CoDEMO system is going to be a complementary cube at the end. That's the perspective from the educational institutions. And again, thanks to the great work within Work Package 1, we have all these kind of, you could also say practices or competences, skills and knowledge within these different dimensions in place here. So we took this from the deliverable 1. And what I found also quite interesting is, of course, based on the survey you did in Work Package 1, the relevance between these aspects is a little bit different. Some are considered as more relevant than others. But I would say I would try to open the cube for all these practices and competences and skills, and not only take those ones that were mentioned as highly relevant, because then we are more flexible, more open for already established learning content within the higher education institutions we could use. Okay. Then we should come to the logic of the levels. And what we find very important here is the cube is a systematic and gives us a structure, but the flexibility and adaptability and also the, let's say, ease of use of this cube, having a low level of contradictions, also from a learner's perspective and also from a technological and also administrative perspective, we find of high importance. And then we discuss a little bit, okay, how can we as a learner who can go through these obviously 3 levels, from basic level to a practitioner level to a decision maker level, how can you go through these levels? So is there kind of a rule that says you are now at the basic level and then you can go to a practitioner level and so on and so forth? And also, thanks to a brief input from Xavier at this point, our vision is to make it quite easy from the very beginning and say, okay, we have the basic level, the green level, and we would propose, okay, here it's going to be important that you get basic insights about at least all these 3 elements of human-centered, resilient, and ecological, and of course also digital. Maybe as an example would be, we have these nice webinars, and there will be another webinars in the future. And this addresses, I think, to a certain extent, the basic level here. Okay. If we go 1 level up within the cube from a learner's perspective, right? So we are now going through a learning path, we would have a practitioner level. And the difference would be compared to the basic level, that you should, as a learner, participate in some kind of an educational activity. For example, within a laboratory, with one of the laboratories of OmniLab maybe, and one of the 6 partners within the network, and spend some time there with other students or learners, something like this. And for me, or for us, we found it important to say, okay, at the practitioner level, you should maybe at least explore these contradictions, maybe contradictions from the perspective of how to actually balance human-centered, resilient, ecological perspectives, right? So practices how to balance these, explore it, maybe learn based on these cases we are developing, the case studies, and so on and so forth. So if you did that, and you can prove that you participate in this kind of experience, you are at a, let's say, practitioner level then. And the decision maker level, or the decision maker level, is the third level, obviously, as you can see at the slide. And here we say, okay, it's not that you explore a contradiction and learn from a contradiction from or practices about this contradiction, but you gain experience about how to cope with the contradiction, right? So complexity, of course, is growing. For example, it could be related to a project within a real context where we have an actual organization which is maybe involved in innovation days or whatever kind of activity, learning activity within or in the context of OmniLab nodes this would be. So this is how a learner would go through these 3 levels. And again, what we find important is that each of the OmniLab nodes, of course, should be able, based on the local capabilities and also availabilities and capacities we have, to offer learning elements, content at all these 3 levels, but it's not that every OmniLab node has to do that, right? Maybe there's a focus more on that field or that field from content perspective, but also from a learner level perspective. So this is mainly the idea. And then we said, okay, what kind of learning methods and tools we might use. And here also we try to not just mention a few of learning methods and tools, but try to build on what we already have in the CoDEMO project, especially with package 1. And there, because in the survey you ask the people what kind of activities you may expect. And we would say, okay, at the basic level, as we already did, we have things like webinars, workshops, and similar activities. At the practitioner level, we have these quite short-term certification or training programs, problem-based training for exploring these contradictions. This is really what the data is showing us from work package 1 and deliverable 1. And at the decision-making level, the respondents said, okay, yeah, that's what I really want. I want to experience how to cope with these contradictions within organization 5.0. So, okay. And then what you can see here is we try to give you a little bit more of a quite precise picture. How could an individual learning path look like? This would be, for example, a learner A, person A, who is going through this cube. This is really from the perspective of the learner itself. And what we recommend is that each and every learner at the basic level should maybe have heard something about human resilience and ecological. And after he or she is leaving the basic level and going to a practitioner level, you're kind of more free or flexible to choose, right? Based on your individual preferences, maybe also based on your background. You could say, okay, I want to develop more towards a human-centered perspective, for example, or if you are another individual learner who is interested in this field and want to gain practices about Organization 5.0, you would say, okay, I'm more interested in the ecological or the green perspective, so I want to kind of specialize more in that field, right? Or here we have another person who is going through the cube, and it's the person C, and he or she is developing less in the field of human-centered perspective, but more in the field of a resilient and ecological perspective, right? Okay. And based on this conceptualization we have. Of course, this has an impact on the training platform and the organization of the training material, and also on the delivery and the logic of our batches or the certification we are going to offer to the learners. And what we would propose is, it's also a question of recognition. Of course, it should be visible that you are, for example, at the basic level, or at the practitioner level, or at the decision maker level. So within these batches, we should make a difference about this to recognize this learning effort here. So what we would have is we have I would propose 3 different kind of batches based or related to these 3 levels. So a basic level, practitioner level batch, and a decision maker level batch, right? The deliverable could be maybe via the system Serge was proposing, or via the already developed and established system Julia is showing us today, which could also be used as the digital system to organize and deliver the batches. Also, one could make these kind of batches a bit more beautiful, but yeah, I'm not a technician guy. I think that's not so much my core competence, and it's just an operational point of view. Okay, good. Yeah, and here this is just another example for learner C. So it's the same idea. So you could also have get a decision maker batch if you are learner C based on your individual preferences, but the batch would be the same. I would recommend not to differentiate too much if a learner is focusing on this perspective or this perspective. But I think it would make the process a little bit too complicated. But maybe it's a question of we can discuss later on. And one additional aspect I wanted to highlight is in one of our last meetings, we also had a discussion going on about if we should name the highest level decision maker level, or I think Adrian, you brought in the idea to name it expert level. And I would say we should keep the label of decision maker level for quite the reason is actually for me quite obvious, because the whole title of the CoDEMO project is about co-creative decision maker. So it would be would fit quite nicely in the scope of the project to keep this as a decision maker level label here, not to change that to the expert level, but it's a proposal and also one thing we can discuss about. Okay, that's the cube, and that's it from my side. It was about 25 or nearly 30 minutes, and we are open for discussion. By intention, I tried to leave a little bit time from my presentation to gain some of your feedback and reactions about our proposal, because at the moment we are really in the middle of the process of kind of finalizing this cube, heading towards the deliverable 3.1. You can see here the slide, which is by December. Okay, thanks so much for listening. And I will open the cube maybe to provide a platform for discussion.
Okay. So thank you very much, Thomas. And Well, this is an interesting vision of the flexibility in the way to manage our certifications. And several institutions or organizations are engaged to deliver these certifications, vocational training organisms, and of course universities also. So please don't hesitate to react, to try to start and think, is it pertinent with regard to what you start to have in mind for delivering this certification and paths, training paths. So we can take some time for your reactions.
No question, just I think it's a very nice approach with the cube, and then also easy to understand and remember for the users. Thank you.
So there is one point perhaps in the future we can discuss, but perhaps somebody has some ideas on that, because on our side also we are just starting with such badges, so we are developing the experience. You proposed, Thomas, the 3 badges, each for one for each level, and this is interesting. And on my side, one of the issues that I mentioned before, highlighted by Adrian, is the fact that I think that in the future we could have other new actors which would be willing to deliver the certification, and so perhaps we have to keep some kind of supervision so that when a badge is delivered, it fulfills some kind of quality requirements linked to CoDEMO. So this is what I would call the supervision of the badges. And so how can we implement it? And perhaps there are 2 ways. One, the way underlined by Adrian before, was to say, well, an organization can deliver locally a first badge, which is a local badge, but then every 6 months, these badges delivery are checked by 1 or 2 institutions to deliver a final checked CoDEMO badge. So this is a way to do. But a second way to do perhaps is to have some process to just validate the institutions which can deliver the badges. Some kind of yes, a priori supervision and check and control of the content of the badge they propose, and then we could have an automatic check if when the badge is delivered by one organization, that organization is in the right database of certificated institution for the delivery. And in that case, there is no need to deliver 2 badges to the student, and it's easier, I think. But all the institutions who can access to the delivery functionality are somehow certified, and we have a database to check that. I don't know if Thomas, you have some reaction, or anybody some reaction on this question.
I have a spontaneous reaction about it. If we, I mean, we have the technical platform which helps us to deliver the batches, which is, as I understood Julia correctly, hosted by Omnia. And within that platform and the batch delivery system, you could, for each and every institution, define a role, so a person, maybe the coordinator of the OmniLab node for each institution, who has also the right to give the badge to a learner, for example. That would be possible. Then we have, it's quite pragmatic. Then we have, if we would say the coordinator of an OmniLab node could also be the person who has the technical right to give the badges to the learners, then we have everything in one place, and maybe quite easy to manage here. Because
there is a very simple way to do it, which is basically that when people claim a badge, you have the claim needs to be validated by someone who has a certain badge, which should be someone from each organization. So that's a very simple way of doing it, and it works. But I think what is important is to think out of the badge and beyond the badge, as it has been presented until now. What we're working on is to think that a badge has a life. That is, it starts by being issued, but then what is important is when you have learned something, it needs to be applied. So if you take, maybe I mentioned earlier in the previous meeting, the Kirkpatrick 4-level of assessing learning. The first level is, were people happy to attend the training? That's the first level. We call that the smile sheet. The second level is did they learn something? What is important is the third level. Did they transfer their learning into the workplace? And the fourth level is, did this application of learning in the workplace had an impact on the organization? So basically, the issuance of the badge is the beginning of a journey. And what we are going to do with Orca, which is done by no other platform, is to be able to qualify a badge, not just by the fact that it has been issued, but qualify by the fact that it has been endorsed, for example, by an employer, because the employer will say, yes, I can testify that this person has transferred knowledge into the workplace, and further on, that this transfer of knowledge had an impact on the organization. So, okay, we can decide that we just want to issue badges at the end of the course, and then they have the certificate, like they would have a paper certificate. What is interesting with technology is we can extend the story and have a high level of quality assurance, because when we think about quality assurance, we think about what happened in the past. What is important in quality assurance is, did these people transfer that learning into the workplace, and did it have an impact on the workplace? So this is what we are working on. It's for you to tell if you are interested in that, or if you prefer to simply have certificate that you deliver at the end of a course.
Well, basically, a search. These are a bit two complementary points for me. We have opened the door to recognition process and journey, and certainly we will try to go in that direction. Yeah. But even with that, we keep the badges delivery, and so we have to manage it. So yeah, thank you for your proposal. I think yes, it's quite complementary. Okay. So, excusez-moi. Are there any other points, reactions, interest in the cube? Vocational training organizations, do you also feel well, quite comfortable with this vision of building different paths? Okay. Okay. Well, so no more question currently, Thomas. Well, thank you very much for all these elements. And so can you remind a bit next step for work package 3, perhaps? You highlighted perhaps at the beginning, but just to just remind the next collaborative steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, I can. Gonna be quite easy if you. So, yeah. I think we will meet in May with the colleagues from ULBS in Bielefeld, and then we can discuss also in a face-to-face meeting. We'll have a lot of time about this, about the teaching content and the organization of the teaching content. So this is, of course, one of the key next steps we have in work package 3. And of course, we have our, as you can see here, our regular monthly meetings where we usually check the progress of package 3. And very important is that we are in close interaction with OmniLab. And you saw our cube, and I realized that you already have seen an earlier version of the cube. So
yeah, it was shared in an email with the requirements.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I think we should go into the details about that one, and maybe we don't have to wait until September until the final delivery will be of 3.1, but we can also talk earlier about what that actually means for you. So those are the next steps, so quite straightforward actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe just 2 words about, let's say, a short plan or a few ideas about the teaching modules, because just to remind, there are 30 modules of teaching that we need to provide. That means around 5 to 6 per partners, for academic partners. And the timeline is somehow month 24, but our proposal is that at each next 6 months to have 2 materials from each partner, somehow like this, in order to fulfill finally the number of teaching modules.
This should come with the fact that partners have a good vision of their learning paths, which is a bit early. So Perhaps this is possible for some partners to try to develop element of contents, but yeah, we have to be careful with the fact that yeah, we have to clarify first what are the paths, the learning paths. Good. And perhaps a last remark for Thomas is that you proposed concerning the certification process to use OMILAB notes as some kind of centralization in each country for the delivery of certificates. It could be a good idea. We will need to check also later if it's convenient for all vocational training institution, etc., which deliver to make it easier and very operational also.
Yeah, so perhaps the vocational trainers can collaborate with the node if we decide to go on this route for the delivery. I think this can apply to the the local and temporary certificate, and then the CoDEMO definitive. Then it's like at the higher level. I don't know. It's decided then.
Okay, perhaps. Okay. So yeah, further meeting discussion to discuss that and to decide correctly, the whole process will be necessary on that one. Okay, well, if there is no other question, thank you very much for all the exchanges. And this is all the program for today. So thank you very much for all the good discussions and presentations. And we have a new meeting tomorrow to carry on with our exchanges. I remind you that it starts a bit earlier because we had planned also to stop earlier. So at 8:30 French time. And we will start with work package 7. So again, online.
Before we leave, can we take a group picture for social media and documentation?
Of course, so please, if we can, all of us put our
cameras on. If you would like to be part of the group picture, of course.
Peut-être tu peux aussi la prendre.
I'll just give a few more seconds. And then let's see. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good lunch and see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Ciao. See you tomorrow.
Enregistrement.
Okay.